Hey, welcome back to YT Finance, and this is the channel where I went to business school so you didn't have to, and today we are talking about why SoFi stock and SoFi in general is absolutely surging right now because they recently got the nod to become an actual bank. Then we're going to touch on Nano DImesnions NNDM stocks so you all are staying informed to get the greatest and latest news updates from this channel for Nano Dimension, and then we're going to talk about why Palantir's PLTR stock is falling yet again, and we're going to go into reasons about why that is. We're also going to go over the price targets for SoFi stock, NNDM stock, and PLTR stock to see what analysts think of these stocks and companies. So if this sounds interesting to you and you want more content like this one, remember to go and smash the like button right now, subscribe if you are new, comment your thoughts down below, and without further ado, let's begin. So Sofi Technologies, ticker symbol SOFI, is a fintech stock, and they mainly are involved in the loan business. Currently, SoFi is an extremely popular mobile-first banking company that literally has an app that encompasses any banking product that you would need, and recently the stock, specifically the SOFI stock, has jumped more than 17%, which is fantastic news. The reason for this jump is because they recently received their approval from the Federal Reserve and the Office of the Comptroller, also known as the OCC, to become an official bank holding company, which is fantastic news. This has been a long-awaited catalyst because last year, SoFi said it would acquire Golden Pacific Bancorp, and the deal is expected to officially close in February, which is fantastic. The CEO of SoFi commented about this recent approval, and he says, "This important step allows us to add to our broad suite of financial products and services to better be there for our members during the major financial moments in their lives and all of the moments in between." So this is very exciting news for SoFi as a company, and even for major investors such as Chamath Palihapitiya, who is one of the people that took SoFi public through a SPAC deal back in June. And the reason why the stock popped around 17% is because SoFi has actually been looking for a bank charter for more than 3 years. SoFi stock currently is down around 23% this year, but this increase in pre-market of around 17.5% is really going to excite investors. So this might even cause a reversal in the SoFi stock price. However, I don't think so because we are still dealing with macroeconomic factors, and I'll get more into that later in the video. Currently, SoFi, ticker symbol SOFI, trades at $12 per share. The low-end price target, according to analysts, is $17. The average price consensus among analysts is $22, and the high-end price prediction for the beginning of 2023, in 1 year from now, is $28. A total of 8 analysts that I have studied are covering the stock, and they have a 76% buy rating and 1 hold rating with no sell ratings. So according to analysts, SoFi is a fantastic stock to buy right now, especially at its current price point. SoFi is mainly known for their student loans, their auto loans, their loan refinancing, mortgages, and various investments, such as their brokerage accounts and their cryptocurrency exchange, which allows investors to invest into stocks as well as some cryptocurrencies. The SoFi CEO also said, "With a national bank charter, not only will we be able to lend at even more competitive interest rates and provide our members with high yield interest in checkings and savings accounts, it will also enhance our financial products and services to ensure they efficiently meet the needs of our members, business partners, and communities across the country, while continuing to uphold a high bar of regulatory standards and compliance." So this is absolutely amazing news, and as you can see here, we can see that the stock price has been consolidating as of late, but you can see that macroeconomic factors have taken over and the stock has been on an absolute downtrend right now. The main reason for this stock is we really want this catalyst to make the stock price go above $15.23, which is where we see the resistance line and the highest volume for SoFi stock. Now, if SoFi can break above $15.23, that will actually become the new support line, which means that it's going to be more difficult for SoFi to fall below $15.23. And then after, if it does pop above $15.23, our next resistance, we would want it to increase and bounce back to around $16.49, and that would align more with what analysts are projecting that the stock is going to be headed to. However, macroeconomic factors are going to prevent this from happening for the short term, at least until after March, and we'll get more into that when we talk about Palantir and why Palantir is pulling back. But before we do that, I want to quickly hit on Nano Dimensions NNDM stock. Currently, the NNDM stock has fallen around 6.74% since since they released their report on January 10th of 2022. Currently, the NNDM stock is hovering at around $3.40. However, they do have a low, average, and high-end price target for the stock of $10. So we could almost triple our money, but we could definitely more than double our money here if analysts are correct. However, only one analyst is currently covering this stock, and they're from Maxim Group, and we're going to talk more about that a little later in this article. If you didn't know, Nano DImension is an industry-leading additive manufacturer of electronic devices and high-performance electronic devices known as HiPEDs. They have also had some really good catalysts lately. However, these catalysts have not been reflected in the NNDM stock price because they are currently in collaboration with XTPL, and they also acquired Global Inkjet Systems. However, these catalysts have relatively gone unnoticed by investors, and they did not excite investors enough to pump the stock price. However, Maxim Group, which is the one group and institution that we mentioned earlier, and a Maxim analyst still thinks that the stock is a solid buying opportunity right now, and it really depends what your average cost is for Nano DImension, because again, this is a very risky stock. The good news is that the price to book ratio for the last quarter was 0.6, and the price to cash per share for the same quarter was 5.71, and this is fantastic news. Now, if you don't know what the book ratio is, don't worry. Traditionally, according to Investopedia, a book value under 1 is considered a good PB value, or price to book ratio, and this could indicate that the stock is potentially an undervalued stock. Now, I want to say that Nano DImension stock has received a lot of selling pressure, falling almost 50% in the last 6 months and almost 70% in the last year. However, according to the Relative Strength Index, or RSI indicator, which would indicate if the RSI is over 70, it means that the stock is overbought, and it means that we probably shouldn't buy any more. However, if it falls below 30, this would indicate that too many people are selling the stock, and it's actually a fantastic value deal right now, at least according to momentum. The current RSI, though, is around 31 to 34, and because it hasn't dropped below 30, we should not buy as of right now, unless, of course, you plan to hold long-term and you just absolutely love this company. And if you're listening to Maxim Group and their analyst, they think that it's a buy currently. But if we're going to follow the RSI, then the RSI says not to buy at this particular time. Now, this doesn't mean that Nano DImension is a bad stock and that it won't pop in the future. It just means that it's received a lot of selling pressure as of late, and the stock could continuously trend down until a huge catalyst would cause a reversal. Speaking about downtrending stocks, let's talk about Palantir Technologies, ticker symbol PLTR. So Palantir Technologies currently trades at $14.97. The low-end price target, according to analysts, is $15. The average price consensus is $21, and the high-end price target is $25 per share. Out of 11 analysts that I have researched, the overall consensus among them is to hold the stock, because Palantir is set to show its true colors 5 to 10 years in the future. So if you are investing now, know two things. One, you're going to have to wait to get good gains off of this stock, and secondly, you are paying a pretty good premium, which we will also talk about later. However, if you do think this is a good company, 5 years from now, your current or average price is going to be fantastic compared to the actual stock price if this company actually scales and does what management wants it to do. One of the reasons why Palantir is pulling back, because the overall stock market has been quite rocky in the beginning of 2022. Palantir recently closed around 6.5% lower, and this is mainly due to the increasing yield of treasury bonds hitting a 2-year high. The current yield for a US 10-year treasury bond is 1.874%, which is very, very high, and this has absolutely rattled the stock market. This has hit growth stocks and innovation stocks extremely hard, because investors are pulling their money out of growth and innovation stocks and they're putting them into treasury bonds, which is a much safer investment considering the current market environment, especially what the Federal Reserve is doing with interest rates, which we will also touch on in this video. Palantir currently has a market cap of around $30 billion, which means that they have lowered their expected forward price to sales multiple and ratio from 22 times to 17 times, and now it's only 15 times. Now, as an investor, we do want to see this ratio or multiple drop even more, because it means we're paying less of a premium for the stock. However, it's really bad news if you are already invested into this company and you didn't leave room to average down. Again, me personally, I do not overexpose myself to a single stock regardless of how good I think the stock is. I never exceed more than 3 to 5% of my portfolio to a single stock, and normally when I start to invest into a stock, I'll only invest 1 to 2% of my portfolio, so I can leave the remainder 1 to 3% to average down if the stock price ends up falling, and that's exactly what I'm doing with Palantir. However, once Palantir reaches 3 to 5% of my portfolio, I will no longer invest into the company and I will just let the stock ride because I know this is a fantastic long-term investment from 2 to 5 to 10 years in the future and not necessarily right now. But what does the Federal Reserve have to do with Palantir? Well, investors are selling off their innovation and growth stocks such as Palantir because the Federal Reserve is increasing their interest rates, and a lot of Palantir's current market capitalization and the hype that's in this stock is due to their forward free cash flows, which are amazing estimates. However, analysts overall are still relatively bullish on the stock, and all of their price targets are above the current stock price. So if you are willing to hold Palantir for another 1 to 2 years, it could reach these price targets according to analysts. Some of those price targets according to analysts are $24 and a buy rating from a Jefferies analyst. We also have a William Blair's analyst that has a sell rating on the PLTR stock. We have a Credit Suisse analyst that has a hold rating for PLTR but a $25 price target. We have a Citigroup analyst that has a price target of $18 and a sell rating. However, because the stock is currently trading below $18, I personally wouldn't say it's a sell rating right now, and I think it could be a good buying opportunity. And then lastly, we have a Morgan Stanley analyst that has a $24 price target with another sell rating. But I leave this up to you. What do you all think about Palantir, SoFi, and Nano DImension stock? I would love to hear your comments down below and what your strategies are for these stocks. Subscribe if you are new. Remember to smash that like button, and I'll see you in the next YT video.